I had only turned off the engine when a voice pierced the atmosphere, one that would trigger the most bizarre week of my life. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" The piercing, ear-splitting sound emanated from the sidewalk. I glanced upward to see a woman wearing a blinding pink cardigan, her hands planted firmly on hips as if she herself was going to give me a ticket. Her curls were so tightly wound they appeared capable of deflection-bulleted bullets, and her eyes were fixed on my truck as if it had committed some personal affront against her. I was still in my own driveway. My driveway. Coming out, I wiped dust from my jeans and replied, "Parked on my property, ma'am." She snorted harshly. "Your property? This is subject to HOA regulations. You can't just have it sit there." She indicated my truck as if it were a rupturing chemical drum. I laughed almost. This must be some kind of joke. "It's my land. Purchased it 2 years ago. The truck remains." Her mouth curved into a smile that never touched her eyes. "Not for long. You'll see to it." She pulled out her phone before I could speak, taking photographs from all directions like a paparazzi attack. The sun illuminated her screen, blinding me. "This is going right to the board," she threatened. "And I guarantee they'll fine you until you wish you never had parked here." I remained cool-headed. "Go ahead and do that. They'll continue to park here." Her mouth opened wide, as if I had sworn at her. "We'll see about that." But this is where things got from frustrating to absurd. Rather than storming away, she stood stock still across the street, glaring at me like a guard dog. She loudly made phone calls, peppering the air with terms like code violation, unauthorized vehicle, and even impound order. I thought it was absurd, until a black SUV pulled up 20 minutes later. 2 men emerged, wearing HOA logo jackets, clipboards clutched in hands. They began snapping photos of my property. I folded my arms. "You're trespassing. Do I need to call the sheriff?" One of them smirked. "We're here under community guidelines. This vehicle is not registered with the HOA, so it's subject to towing." I fired back at once. "That's rich, because I'm not a member of your HOA." They paused for a moment, but before they could respond, Karen's voice cut through the air. "He's lying. This property is within the jurisdiction of the association. Take it away." I didn't know it at the time, but this was only her first move in a fight she could never win. The 2 men looked at each other uneasily. My steady voice had disconcerted them, but Karen was not to be stopped. "Don't stand there," she snapped. "Do your work." I moved slowly forward, holding my phone up so the camera lens was visible. "Let me make this simple. Leave my property now, or this footage goes straight to the sheriff. And since you're wearing uniforms with a logo, I'll also mention impersonating authority." She's bluffing with an HOA that doesn't even exist. Oh boy, this is going to be a blast. That night, Mark stopped by with a manila folder and his portable scanner. At my kitchen table, we sorted through each letter Karen had crammed into my mailbox. "They're all phony." Mark held up one to the light. "Incorrect formatting, no county filing numbers, old logo." "She's forging them." My jaw clenched. "So, she's just inventing this to intimidate me?" "Not just frighten you," he said. "If she's impersonating an HOA, handing out fines, and attempting to take property, those are criminal acts." That evening, I wrote a certified cease and desist letter, brief, blunt, and painfully clear. Asterisk desist from the harassment, desist from the fictional claims, and desist from attempting to remove my property or face litigation. Asterisk the following afternoon at 3:15, I slid it into her mail slot. By 3:20, there was a hot knock on my door. Karen stood in front of me, clutching the letter as if it was a personal affront to her whole lineage. "How dare you threaten me?" she snapped. I remained calm. "You've been warned. Next step is law enforcement." She laughed, but this time there was a shiver in it. "The police won't do anything. Everyone around here knows me." I leaned against the doorway. "Good. Then they'll arrest exactly who they should be arresting." She marched away, swearing under her breath. But that night, she did more than I could have possibly imagined. Monitoring my security cameras, I caught a glimpse of someone approaching the driveway. There she was, sneaking along my property with a flashlight. She stooped beside my truck, working near the tire. I zoomed in on the feed. She was removing the valve cap. Mark's words resonated in my mind. Asterisk, get proof. Then act. Asterisk, before morning. The video had been duplicated on 3 independent USB drives. This was no longer about protecting my property, but about laying a trap. And Karen was walking right into it. I called the sheriff's office the next day. Officer Daniels, tall, measured, and no-nonsense, listened intently as I explained everything. When I presented him with a video of Karen sabotaging my truck, his forehead creased. She's trespassing and trying to cause property damage, he told me. That alone is grounds for a charge. We came up with a plan. Catch her in the act again, but this time in front of law enforcement. That night, at 8:42 p.m., Daniels pulled quietly a block away. No lights, no sirens. I waited inside, cameras clicking, and right on schedule, at 9:05, a familiar figure slipped out of her house. Dressed in all black, as if the streetlights would suddenly forget she existed, Karen crept across the road. In her hands, another envelope and a small wrench. She squatted by my truck. That's when Daniels stepped out of the shadows. "Evening, ma'am," he said. "Mind telling me what you're doing here?" Karen froze. "Oh, officer." Asterisk, but then what she said afterwards was when the whole battle turned upside down. Asterisk flawless. "I notice you have sent me the same section as before. Let me completely rephrase it, smoothen the narration, and insert suspense hooks so it comes across smoothly like an engaging narration for YouTube. Hey-race the refined script version. I move around to the rear of the tow truck, taking photos of the license plate and business logo. Next, I made it absolutely clear. Hey-race your option. Hook this vehicle, and you're going to be held responsible for trespassing and grand theft. Back off now, and we act like this never occurred." The driver hesitated, lips clamped tight, then finally grumbled, "Not worth it," and jumped back in his cab. That's when Karen burst out of her front door like a banshee. "What do you think you're doing?" she shrieked. The driver shrugged, not getting sued. As he drove off, her anger rattled back through the street. "This isn't over," she yelled, and I knew she was serious. That night, I opened the mailbox and discovered a heavy envelope bearing the HOA seal. It contained a notice demanding $500 in fines for repeated infractions. Karen wasn't being a pest anymore. She was ramping it up. If I didn't act fast, she would actually succeed in pulling me into her fabricated nightmare. But rather than freaking out, I smiled. Karen had just played her trump card too much. I called the county property office and picked up the phone. "Yes, I need to verify something. Does my address come under any HOA jurisdiction?" The clerk's cheerful voice replied, "No, sir. That subdivision's HOA dissolved 10 years ago." Bingo. Then I phoned Mark, my buddy, and a lawyer who loved underdog fights. The moment I finished telling him, he erupted into laughter. "She's bluffing with an HOA that doesn't even exist. Oh, this is going to be good." That night, Mark stopped over with a manila folder and his portable scanner. We sat at my kitchen table, sorting through each and every so-called official letter Karen had stuffed in my mailbox. "They're all phony," Mark said, holding one up to the light. "Incorrect formatting, no county filing numbers, obsolete logo. She's fabricating these." My jaw tightened. "So this is scare tactics?" "Not only scare tactics," Mark amended. "She's impersonating an HOA, filing bogus fines, and attempting to take property. That's criminal charges." That evening, we prepared a certified letter of cease and desist to Karen Whitmore next door. Brief, straightforward, no room to maneuver. Asterisk halt the harassment, halt the bogus claims, and halt the unauthorized efforts to tow my car or risk legal action. Asterisk the following afternoon at 3:15, I slid it into her mailbox. By 3:20, I had a raging pounding on my door. I opened it to see Karen, holding the letter as if it were a personal affront to her family heritage. "How dare you threaten me?" she spat. I remained calm. "You've been warned. Next step is law enforcement." She laughed, but there was a fissure in it this time. "The police won't do a thing. Everyone around here knows me. I casually leaned against the doorway. Good. Then they'll know exactly who to arrest. Her face turned redder still, and she stormed off, grumbling under her breath. But that evening, my security cameras detected movement in the driveway. There was Karen, sneaking across the street under the light of a flashlight. She hunched beside my truck, fumbling on the front tire. I zoomed in. She was removing the valve cap. Mark's words rang in my head. Asterisk, get proof. Then act. Asterisk, by morning, the video was securely backed up to 3 separate USB drives. This wasn't defense now. This was a trap. And Karen was walking into it. The following day, I contacted the sheriff's office. Officer Daniels, a lanky man with a cool, no-nonsense face, listened intently as I recounted. When I took him in to see the video, his face set. She's trespassing and trying to cause damage to property. That's enough to charge her. We worked together, catch her in the act once more, but this time with the police observing. That night, at 8:42 p.m., Daniels pulled up quietly, stopping a block away without lights or sirens. I remained indoors, my cameras capturing every view. At 9:05, on schedule, a familiar figure emerged from across the street. Karen. She was dressed head to toe in black, as if streetlights couldn't betray her. In one hand, another thick envelope. In the other, a small wrench. She knelt beside my truck's front tire, when suddenly Daniels stepped out from the shadows. Evening, ma'am, he said. Mind telling me what you're doing here? Karen froze. Oh, officer, asterisk, but what she tried to say next was the exact moment this entire war turned against her.